You know, sometimes the biggest scientific breakthroughs pop up in the most unexpected places. We search the stars for cosmic secrets, we dive deep into the ocean for new life. But what if some of the most important clues about our own health have been hiding somewhere much, much closer?
Okay, I know. That might sound a little bit like science fiction, but honestly, it's the big question at the heart of some really fascinating new research. A team of scientists decided to see if the trillions of tiny organisms living in our mouths could actually be linked to one of the biggest health challenges we face today, obesity.
And this is not just some academic exercise. This is a real-world problem with huge stakes. Take Kuwait, for example, which is where this study was based. Roughly half of all adolescents there are considered either overweight or obese. That's a staggering number, and it has scientists scrambling to find new answers, to look at the problem from a totally new angle.
So where do you even begin to look when the usual factors, like diet and exercise, just don't tell the whole story? Well, these researchers turn their gaze inward to that bustling microscopic ecosystem of bacteria living right in our saliva, what we call the oral microbiome.
So let's frame this for what it is, a weighty oral mystery. The clues might be microscopic, but wow, the implications are huge. The central puzzle here is there a specific microbial signature, a kind of bacterial fingerprint in our saliva that lines up with our body mass index, our BMI?
To crack this case, we've got to go inside the lab. We need to see exactly how these scientists went about their work. It's a pretty amazing process, really, that takes a simple tube of spit and transforms it into this massive revealing dataset of biological info.
The whole investigation centered on 62 Kuwaiti adolescents, all between 17 and 19 years old. Now, they were carefully sorted into 4 groups based on their BMI. This gave the researchers a clear spectrum to work with, from underweight all the way to obese, which is perfect for making direct comparisons.
And their method? It was meticulous. It all started, of course, by collecting saliva. From that spit, they pulled out all the microbial DNA. Then, using some really advanced sequencing tech, they essentially read that DNA. This gave them a who's who list of every type of bacteria in there. And the final step? They laid all these bacterial profiles side by side and compared them across the different weight groups.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because once they crunched the numbers, a super clear pattern emerged. It started pointing to a specific cast of microbial suspects, bacteria whose populations were dramatically different depending on a person's BMI.
But before we name names, there's one key concept we gotta get our heads around: microbial diversity. Just think of your mouth like a rainforest, right? A healthy rainforest is teeming with a huge variety of plants, animals, insects, and that variety makes it strong and resilient. Well, the same thing is often true for our microbiome. More diversity is usually a really good sign of health.
So here's the first bombshell finding from the study. They found a clear inverse relationship. As the teenagers' BMI went up, the diversity, that variety of bacteria in their saliva, went down. The rainforest in the mouths of the overweight and obese participants was just less varied and maybe less resilient because of it.
Now we can get to the specific suspects. And yeah, I know those names are a mouthful, but don't worry about pronouncing them. What's really important here is the pattern. In the obese and overweight kids, certain types of bacteria known to be involved in inflammation were way more common. But in the normal weight group, they had more bacteria that we usually associate with a healthy mouth. This isn't just random chance, it's a distinct microbial signature.
But wait, there's more. This is only one piece of the puzzle. See, it's not just about which bacteria are there. It's about what in the world they're doing. The researchers actually predicted the function of these microbial communities, and what they found was that each group was telling a completely different metabolic story.
And this chart illustrates that difference perfectly. Using some pretty clever computational analysis, the scientists predicted the activity of key enzymes these bacteria produce. And look at that. The microbiome in the obese and overweight group seems to be supercharged for pathways related to storing energy and dealing with metabolic stress, way more so than the normal weight group.
So what you basically have are 2 totally different metabolic engines running. The microbiome in the higher BMI group seems to be programmed for a kind of state of emergency, constantly storing energy and dealing with high levels of oxidative stress. You can think of that as a kind of biological rust caused by imbalance in the body. Meanwhile, the microbiome in the normal weight group, it seems to be geared more towards balance and defense.
And if we drill down a little deeper, we can see the specific machinery at work. In the obese and overweight group, the bacteria were churning out more enzymes to deal with that biological rust we talked about, and others designed for really rapid, but less efficient energy production.
In contrast, the bacteria in the normal weight group were running a totally different set of machinery, one that points toward a calmer, more balanced energy metabolism.
So, what does all this mean for us, right? Why does a study about 62 teenagers in Kuwait matter to the rest of the world? Well, this is where we zoom out and look at the big picture, and your mouth's potentially huge impact on your overall health.
Here's the crucial takeaway. Your saliva is so much more than just spit. It's a treasure trove of biological information. This research suggests that it could one day be used as a simple, totally non-invasive tool to get a snapshot of your metabolic health, maybe long before more serious problems ever develop.
And the researchers themselves, they see a clear path forward. Their goal, as they put it, is to pave the way for microbiome-targeted interventions. Okay, what does that actually mean? Well, just imagine a future where instead of some generic probiotic, you could take one specifically designed to encourage the growth of those normal weight bacteria in your mouth, helping to gently nudge your entire metabolism back toward balance.
So we're going to end with a question that honestly feels a lot less like science fiction than it did just a few minutes ago. Can you imagine a future where your routine dental cleaning also includes a quick saliva swab to check up on your metabolic health? Based on this research, that future might just be closer than any of us think.